Hello everyone and welcome to the release of Lillia. Lillia is a brand new AP jungler that just came out to Wild Rift. Been really excited about this one ever since that she was announced all the way back in patch 3.5 patch preview. Lillia is a great mobility AP jungler, likes to run around team fights, use her abilities to stack up movement speed. She has a lot of crowd control, she has a lot of mobility, a lot of durability as well. She is a great champion, and this guy we're going to be talking through all the abilities, the combos, and I'll also give you all the best build to run with her so you can go straight into your ranked games and smurf on everyone and climb the rank really easily, because I honestly think that Lillia is going to be insanely strong. First up, let's take a look at the abilities. The first one is her passive, which is Dream Laden bow, which is a bit of a tongue twister. So Lillia's abilities apply Dream Dust every single time she hits an ability. These deal a percentage of maximum health and magic damage over time, and Lillia also restores health over the duration against large jungle monsters. So that's like the big Krug, the red buff, the big raptor, anything like that, and restores health against champions. Now, Dream's Dust damage is capped damage over the duration against jungle monsters. The heal is only a little bit less effective for each source beyond the first, and Dream Dust can only heal from one monster at a time. So when you're trying to do like a double camp, if you want to, on Lillia, which is actually quite interesting, I'm very curious if you can actually do a double jungle camp, like blue buff and red buff at the same time. Very curious. I'm actually going to quickly try it out in this now to see what we can do. Ooh, okay, it might be a little bit difficult. I might have to pull this one back again. I think it might be a little bit difficult to try and do both. Maybe if you do this, maybe you can just do both at the same time. If I stand here, maybe. It's a little bit difficult to do. You can see that the Krug still walks along. I think it might be a little bit difficult to double jungle camp with Lillia, which is very popular on PC League, but obviously with the jungle changes makes it a little bit more difficult. But yeah, dealing more damage, maximum health damage over time, and Lillia being able to heal is very awesome. The first ability, Blooming Blows, there's a passive. So Lillia's abilities grant movement speed for a few seconds, and this stacks up to 4 times. Every single time Lillia hits an ability, she's going to gain movement speed every single time. So I can just land an ability, I can land ability after ability over and over again, and you can see the little purple stack at the bottom. So you can see my Conqueror stack, the Riftmaker is on the left, Conqueror is the one next to that, and the one next to that is the purple stack. That purple stack is your movement speed. As you can see, I have a huge massive burst of movement speed, and then eventually it goes down and down until it goes down to 0. So keep an eye on the bottom of your screen, and knowing how much movement speed you have will basically know when you can, like, you know, dodge, go into team fights, try and dodge around, and keep on hitting your abilities. So hitting your abilities with Lillia is very important, and most of them are skill shots. Now, the active on Lillia's first ability, Lillia whirls her sensor, dealing magic damage and additional true damage at the outer edge, and this deals 130% damage to monsters. So you basically have a smaller edge and an outer edge. So as you can see, the outer edge, I can deal true damage, and when I'm standing close towards the champion, then that is only going to deal magic damage. You can see briefly when I'm using the ability. Unfortunately, it's not an ability that I can hold, but you can see that there's like an inner circle and an outer circle. So with Lillia, every single time you try and gank, you always want to try and land the outer circle, because this is going to deal true damage. So that means it ignores all armor, all magic resist on enemy champions. So really important that you do that. And obviously when you're landing your abilities, when you're landing your first ability, you're going to be getting movement speed every single time. So that's really important. Now, one quick thing with Lillia's first ability is you can flash with Lillia's first ability. There's 2 separate ways you can do it. You can flash into first ability, but the quickest way to do it is actually first ability and then flash. As you can see, it's a lot quicker. So you can do first ability flash, and then you basically do massive amount of AoE damage, and you can also combo this with your other abilities afterwards, and I'll show you a little bit later on in the combo section. Second ability is Watch Out Eep. So Lillia winds up a huge strike, dealing magic damage, and enemies in the center circle take additional magic damage instead, and this also deals damage quite a lot of damage to monsters. So as you can see, there's a little inner circle, which is very, very small, and there's a big outer circle. So if you hit enemies on the big outer circle, they're not going to deal that much damage, but the inner circle is where you can deal a huge amount of damage. And it's really important because you can use this, you can use like your third ability and then combo this with your, you know, second ability and also your first ability as well, getting all the movement speed. And that movement speed will allow you to get into range to use your second ability afterwards. Now, the important thing to note with Lillia's second ability, you cannot jump over walls. Even though here, you can see that you can maybe jump over the wall, you cannot. You can only briefly go over like little corners. It's, as you can see, it's very, very difficult. You have to stand very, very close to the corner to be able to jump over. As you can see, it's not really a lot of places that you can jump over. As you can see, there's a little bit of a corner there that I was able to jump over there as well. But some of them are very, very difficult to jump over. So bear that in mind when you're using Lillia. You cannot use the second ability to jump over walls. You can deal the damage over the walls. So say, for example, here, if I want to deal damage to this target, I can deal damage over the wall, but I cannot leap over the wall. So bear that in mind. It's very, very important. Now, with your third ability, you have swirl seals. So Lillia pretty much lobs a swirl shield overhead, dealing magic damage, and where it lands and revealing and slowing them by 40% for a few seconds. And if no enemies hit, then the seed rolls until it collides with a target. So this seed can basically go on for ages and ages and ages. If I really want to, I can hit this Garen all the way back in base. It might be a little bit difficult to hit. As you can see, the seed is going to keep rolling and rolling and rolling until it hits the surface. I wasn't able to hit Garen there. It is quite difficult because you can see it on the mini-map. You can see it very briefly, but there's no real way of tracking it except for doing that. I actually missed the Garen. I actually missed the Garen. It is quite difficult, as you can see, to hit. I can go all the way here, boom, and I can hit the Garen. And cool thing is that you can use your ultimate as well from this far away, which is quite cool. You can also use this to clear minion waves. So say, for example, if a minion wave is coming in, say, for example, if I want to quickly spawn the minions, get them to quickly come in if they're going to get on their way. Oh no, it's respawn monsters. I don't want to respawn monsters. I want to spawn the minions. So if I keep an eye on the minions when they eventually join the party, eventually they will join the party. But anyway, when the minions spawn in, you can also use this to kill the minions as well if you want to. You can use this for however far away range you want to. If you want to hit the target dummies over here, you can go all the way and hit a bunch. And as you can see, it does AoE damage as well. So it's going to do AoE damage to quite a lot of champions. Oh look, the minions are here now. So I can even use my third ability and hit minions before the minion wave even gets here. And as you can see, it does big massive AoE damage as well. So it's an easy way for Lillia to clear waves if she really wants to. This can be used in base as well. You can use it in base and clear minions from the base if you really want to as well. You know, many different ways you can use your third ability because it's basically infinite range. So it goes on for as long as you want. Then the ultimate is Lilting Lullaby. Some of these names are very, very strange. Lillia causes all enemies with dream dust to become drowsy for a few seconds. Now, if you don't know, the dream dust is from her passive, so every single time she hits an ability, become drowsy for 1.5 seconds. Afterwards they will fall asleep for 2.5 seconds. When awakened by damage, they take additional damage, so you have to be careful of that, because with Lillia, when they go asleep, if they take damage, then that sleep is basically going to cancel that 2.5 seconds. Drowsy units are slowed over the duration and fall asleep afterwards, and asleep units cannot move or act until damaged by an enemy with non-periodic damage. So that's very, very important to know. So say, for example, if I wanted to sleep all these targets, I can put them all to sleep if I want to. As you can see, they're asleep, but when I damage them, as you can see, they're not asleep anymore. So 2 front targets didn't go asleep, and the back target was still asleep. I'll do that again for you. As you can see, they're drowsy for a few seconds. They're asleep, but then the back one is still asleep, but the front ones are not. But you do deal additional damage when you put enemies to sleep. So it's very important to kind of, you know, target at the same time. So you could do this really cool thing with your third ability, where you can hit your third ability at range, and then you can use your sleep afterwards if you want to. As you can see, your ultimate is infinite range. You can do it for as far away as possible. It's very, very cool effect. Very, very good for ganking as well, because you can use your third ability into ultimate and then get into range to use your second ability and other abilities on top of that. Now, for combos, the main thing you want to do with combos is use your Q flash combo and then actually use your stasis on top of your ultimate. So your full combo is going to be Q flash ulti into stasis. And the great thing is that your stasis is going to be on enough cooldown, or your basically when your stasis comes back up, that means your first ability is going to be off cooldown. That means you can use your first ability again. So I'll do it without the 0% cooldowns. So Q flash ulti into stasis, and as you can see, when I get stasis back up, I can use all my abilities again, because your first ability, as you can see, only has a 3-second cooldown. This is the best way in team fights. You can join a team fight, Q flash, hit every single person in the team fight, use your Zhonya's to keep yourself alive. Then when you come back alive, it means that everyone's going to be asleep, so you can deal the additional damage with your first ability. That's the only combo that you need to know with Lillia. Obviously, there's so many different ways that you can use your ultimate with your third ability at range if you want to. If you want the most effective combo, that is the one for you. Interesting enough to note as well that Lillia is actually a range champion and not a melee champion. So Kane, for example, will always get blue form. So he'll always get the blue form on Lillia and not red form, because she is ranged. And also Lillia's auto attacks also work through Yasuo's wind wall. So a few little tips there as well. Right, let's go into quickly the leveling order for Lillia. I'm going to quickly reset my level. At level 1, no surprise, is going to be your first ability. This gives you movement speed to kite around camps, especially red buff early on. You can just easily go to a jungle camp. You can easily use your first ability on a jungle camp, and this will allow you to move around, kite through the jungle. And as you can see, you can basically just take no damage at all. Easy, just kite around the jungle. And eventually when you're kiting around the jungle, this is going to keep you super healthy the whole time. And at level 2, you want to go for your second ability. This will give you the extra damage when you're moving around. As you can see, you need to keep kiting and kiting constantly the entire time. Then at level 3, you actually want to put a second point into your first ability. Now this might be quite interesting. So second point in your first ability, reduce the cooldown, increase your movement speed, but increase your base damage by quite a lot. Or you can go for your third ability as well, which is also an option. So we'll have to test it and see how it works, but it's either 2 points in your first ability, or you go for your third ability to make all your abilities available. Now the ability that you want to max first is your first ability, making sure you level up your ultimate when it's available. So you want to go for your first ability max, then after your first ability you want to go for your second ability, because this will deal a lot of damage at maximum rank, and then you want to go for your third ability. So that is pretty much everything in the game with Lillia that I want to show you. As you can tell, the champion has a lot of movement speed, and I think it's going to be quite strong in the current meta. AP jungler as well, which I think is always great for the game. It's always great to have an AP jungler, and also we've got the Spirit Blossom background as well, which is going to be really, really cool. Right, moving on to the build. I think the best item for Lillia in the early game, Lillia kind of works like Morgana jungle in a way. If you play Morgana jungle before, Lillia is going to have pretty much the same build. Luna's Echo as your first item. This is going to make you very, very squishy, but Luna's Echo is just so good because you have the extra distorted echo damage, which will help you not only clearing through the jungle, but also, you know, dealing extra damage in team fights. A lot of mana, a lot of ability power, and a lot of ability haste. Just overall a great item for Lillia. Rift Maker is another good item. So not only are you going to get extra true damage with the Void Corruption every single time you're in a team fight, which in a team fight, you're pretty much going to be always be in a team fight, even if you land your third ability, because remember, with Lillia's abilities, you're always going to be dealing damage over time. So it kind of works a little bit like Teemo in a way, with his poison, sorry. So dealing damage over time means that you're pretty much going to be in the team fight constantly. So you're going to be building up the stacks of Void Corruption every single time, and then dealing true damage right at the end. Also, the Omnivamp helps you out a lot. The extra healing when you're moving around team fights, spamming your abilities, all that healing is going to come in handy. Little bit health to make you tanky, ability power and ability haste, all great stats for Lillia. The boots, pretty much all the time, I think you're just going to go for Ionian Boots of Lucidity again for more ability haste. Ability haste stacking is amazing on Lillia, and then you always want to go for stasis. Stasis is your go-to for Lillia, especially for the combo. Then we go for standard AP items, Death Cap, Void Staff. These two items are just a no-brainer really for AP champions. And your last item, kind of flexible. Leandri's Tournament works great because this works with your damage over time, so it's going to be dealing even more bonus damage based on the enemy's maximum health, so this works great on top of your passive. I have a few other options here as well that you can go for. Rylus Crystal Scepter is a good option if you want a little bit more tankiness, and also allows all your abilities to slow. So that damage over time that you're getting through basically landing any of Lillia's abilities will be able to slow down the enemy champions. That means that you can easily jump on top of them, easily slow enemy champions, but also gain movement speed for yourself at the same time. Or you can go for something like Cosmic Drive, which gives you even more movement speed. Now, I don't think you need the extra movement speed, but this can also be another item that you can try out on Lillia. Other than that, I'm not too sure if any of the new items will work great. Maybe Awakened Soul Stealer might be kind of cool. Takedowns on enemy champions within 3 seconds, dealing damage to them, reduce your remaining cooldowns. To be honest, I think that because your first abilities are running on a 3-second cooldown, I don't think Awakened Soul Stealer is going to be great. Horizon Focus might be kind of good. Not really too sure because I don't think your first ability is outside of the 500 range. So I don't think any of the new items are going to be great. Obviously, you can go Morellonomicon if you want anti-heal as well. That's also another good option. Or you can go for Banshees or Crystalline Reflector if you need the magic resist or the armor. Again, very flexible. There are many different items you can go on Lillia. You just have to be flexible when in the game. Conquer is your go-to. Not only does it give you extra adaptive stacks of damage, extra ability power, but also the Omni Vamp at the end as well. So this works hand in hand with Riftmaker. So you get Riftmaker Omni Vamp. You also get Conqueror Omni Vamp as well. So you're going to be dealing a lot of damage. I think the first ability is an interesting one. You can go for Hunter Vampirism if you want to. Hunter Vampirism will give you the extra AP and also Magical Vamp. You can go for Gathering Storm if you want a little bit of late game damage. Or you can go for something like Giant Slayer, which did get buffed this patch, which doesn't show the buff at the moment, but I'm sure it'll be updated in about an hour's time when the new patch comes out. But that also got buffed quite recently, so Giant Slayer I think can be pretty good as well. Hunter Titan, the only thing that about Lillia is that she doesn't have a lot of mobility, so she can be prone to a lot of crowd control. So I think Hunter Titan is very important to go for that extra tenacity if you are against a lot of champions with a lot of crowd control. And I think Nimbus Cloak is great. Nimbus Cloak, when you're using your flash, when you're using your smite, gives you that extra movement speed. But if you feel like you don't need the extra movement speed, you go for Hunter Genius to give yourself even more ability haste. And then for your summoner spells, obviously we're going to go for Smite and Flash. That is pretty much everything for Lillia. She looks so cute as well, by the way. She looks very, very cute. I actually haven't seen her skin yet because obviously you got all the new Spirit Blossom skins as well, which just came out. So I'm going to be trying them on stream tomorrow. So if you want to check that out, you can check that on stream. But I think the Spirit Blossom skins are very, very cool. What the pose is like as well. Oh, it's kind of cute. The little cute pose. I like to look at all the things they like to add as well. You have to see all the different poses for Spirit Blossom, but I'll check that out on the stream tomorrow. So yeah, if you want to check it out, link will be down in the description to my Twitch stream. I'll probably be live around about midday UK time tomorrow, so that's midday, sorry, about 1 p.m. time in the UK tomorrow. So if you want to check that out, you can do. So yeah, I appreciate you all tuning into the video. Hopefully you enjoy Lillia. Let me know what you think of her down in the comments. And until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next wider video. Peace.